Hello. We are live again.
Welcome to the second episode of the podcast.
Yeah. Welcome. Who's watching? Don't have a viewer yet. Oh, we have a viewer. What's up, viewer? How are you doing? Oh, God. Okay. Just getting things set up. We have 2 viewers. Let's go. Hello, everyone's watching. Welcome back to our second podcast. Wow, this is good. Ugh.
Wow, this is good.
I'm just sorry. Yeah, okay, we're good now. We'll wait for a bit, and then we'll see how things go. I know we're a bit late. I'm sorry.
Let them know what we're doing today.
We are going to be talking about overrated, underrated for half the Pacific, so Edmonton, Anaheim, San Jose, and Vegas. Trade destinations for Tarasenko and Eichel. We're also going to be talking about the Duncan Keith trade and the Stanley Cup Finals, Dominic Ducharme resigning, and last but not least, Pekka Rinne retires. I know it's 4 right now, but we'll wait for a teeny bit just because we are a bit late. So we'll wait for a teeny bit, and you want to wait for like a little bit?
Give them like a few minutes, like two minutes.
We'll start at like 4 of 3. And we'll see where we go from there. And just so you know, in our next hockey episode, we're not going to be doing Pacific again, due to the fact that Arizona is in Central now and Seattle is in the Pacific. So it's going to be kind of tough to,
Yeah, we'll wait until they get the expansion draft.
They have no players.
We should talk about that. We'll talk about that eventually, the expansion draft.
We will. We could definitely next. Well, I think it's in 2 weeks, right?
The expansion draft's on the 21st.
21st. Okay, so that's in 2 weeks from now. Or a week. Exactly a week.
Yeah.
Okay. That actually kind of works, you know?
Mm. Well, if it's on Wednesday night, we'll have to talk about it, like, at some point. Like, I don't even know. The next one after that.
You know, are you ready to get going?
Ready to talk?
It's 4:02, so I guess we can
I am.
Hello, 2 viewers. If you have any questions, put it in the chat. I hope we can see it. I hope it works. That's the hope. But I don't know. We'll see.
All right, let's do our intro. What's going on, guys? Going for our second episode. Wednesday is no hockey, so.
Yeah, I forgot to put my light on, so lighting was bad. Okay, so overrated, underrated, NHL. So first NHL, we already did one Sunday on NFL. Now it's NHL. So you want to get going?
Yeah, you can start it off this time. I think I started off last episode, so
you did. Okay, so let's go off with Anaheim. Let's start off with Anaheim. And one thing I like to say about Anaheim is they had a good team. They don't anymore. this is an interesting team because no one really says, "Oh, they're the worst team in the NHL," and I personally, I don't think there are, but they're obviously not playoff. I don't think they're playoff contention. I'm sorry, no. Obviously Trevor Zegras is a really good player, gonna be a key part of that team next season. Um, but no one says they're gonna be a playoff team. I haven't seen that, or someone say they're gonna be last because they shouldn't be last. So I'm gonna go fairly rated because I don't think anyone like over likes them or over hates them. You want to go for Anaheim?
I agree. Anaheim, honestly, they haven't been good for a few years since they've been losing. Like, they lost a bunch of players, lost Corey Perry. But they do have a future. They have prospects that will be good in the future. Obviously, in Ryan Getzlaf and all their veteran players, getting older, they're not as sharp as they were. So they're obviously going to fall. They were good. They were good when they had all their, like, Corey Perry, Getzlaf, all them. Now they have Raquel and Shattenkirk. I don't even know if Shattenkirk plays there anymore, but they have a few players to lead the team along with the rookies. They won't be good for a little bit because they need to have a few more, like, solid draft picks, and they need to go for free agents and trades. And they also just lost what's his name? Sorry, someone retired. One of their goalies retired for Anaheim, so they're
Miller.
losing players.
Their backup. The backup. That's gonna be.
Yeah. Anyways, getting too far. Anaheim, I say fairly rated because they have a promising future. I think that's what everybody expects from them, but they're not too good right now.
Yeah, I agree. Fairly rated is definitely. I agree. You want to go next, San Jose, or you want to go first, or you want to just switch, or you want me to go?
You go.
Okay, San Jose. What I think with San Jose is, first thing I think is obviously they don't have a bright future ahead of them, and they're old. A lot of the team's old. I mean, obviously Marlowe, Burns, Carlson's getting old. Like all these guys, they're getting old, and they're getting old, but they have no future. They have no. One thing I think about is their goaltending. It's not the greatest. Like, there's nothing really to say about this team. I'm gonna go fairly rated because I don't think anyone thinks they're gonna be what they were a few years ago.
Alright, is that it?
Yeah, fairly rated. I'm going fairly rated.
Okay, San Jose. Right after that, I'm gonna say they're overrated because look at their team. Look at when they got Carlson, they got Burns, Thomas Hertl, Martin Jones was, like, I'm pretty sure he was a Vezina candidate at one point in his career. They fell off a peak and they started to try to scramble free agents. They're definitely overrated. Like Carlson, he's probably, I'm pretty sure he's one of the most highest paid defensemen, and he plays like crap during the entire season. They're not going to make the playoffs. They need to go into a rebuild phase. But I think they should trade some of those guys away because they're not going to do anything. They need to go into a total rebuild. So I'm going to say overrated.
Okay. We'll go Anaheim. Not Anaheim. Edmonton. Obviously, when you think of Edmonton, you think Connor McDavid. You think Leon Draisaitl. You think of those superstar players. Probably, like, McDavid's obviously number one. I'd say Draisaitl's top 5. And that's all you think. I mean, they have Darnell Nurse, who came off a very good season this year, and then you have Tyson Barrie, who also came off a very good season, but is on the verge of leaving. He's a free agent. Obviously, we'll talk about this later, but newly acquired Duncan Keith's obviously going to help, and I think they got Duncan Keith to. If Barrie leaves, he could replace them, even though he's not really a right defenseman. So it's going to be interesting to see what Edmonton do this year in the Pacific, it's a terrible division. And I hate it. It's the worst division in hockey. Like, if you think about it, if you really think about it, um, I mean, like there's Vegas and Edmonton, and then you have Calgary, who's like suck.
Calgary's not that bad though.
Calgary's not that bad, but they're not. They shouldn't be a third best team. But by the way, they played in the North Division this year.
That team, other than that, they probably have Arizona that I could see going to the playoffs because they had a decent year. So.
Well, no, not Arizona, not Arizona, because they're in the Central now. They got moved to the Central because
they got moved over to Central.
Yeah, they got moved over. There's I'm looking right now. Vegas, Edmonton. I'm trying to see if I missed a name. No, and that really concerns me.
Do you think Seattle's gonna make playoffs?
San Jose?
No, Seattle.
I'll see when they acquire their players. I can't say anything yet. But for Edmonton, goaltending, they have a young guy in Skinner. He's young. But there's also Mike Smith and Koskinen, who I think are going to need to play this year. And I'm assuming they're going to...
Koskinen sucks.
Koskinen's the backup. Smith is a starter. So I'm actually going to go overrated. I feel like... I really think they got lucky getting second. And it was all because of McDavid and Draisaitl. But if they do, like, what they did this year, like they'll make the playoffs. Honestly, at this point, they'll probably finish second in their division because it's that bad. I'm going to go overrated for Edmonton.
Oh, man, I can't wait to talk about this team. Okay. Edmonton, like, I'm going to say overrated. I'm just going to wrap that overrated. Because look at their team. Who do they have besides McDavid and Draisaitl and maybe Darnell Nurse? Nobody. I mean, Nugent Hopkins just signed that massive deal. But you can't expect a guy like that to play on a crap line and provide. All they do, they're a regular season team. It's a two-man team. Draisaitl and McDavid carry them through the playoffs. When you play your players that much, you're not going to have success in the playoffs. And look at that's happened every year since they got McDavid and Draisaitl. They can't win the playoffs. They're not a playoff team. And that's what matters most is the playoffs. And if you can't win the playoffs, you're not a successful team. Just like Toronto. Toronto, amazing team in the regular season, sucks in the playoffs. Edmonton, amazing team in the regular season, sucks in the playoffs. Edmonton has lost to Chicago the year before. I have an interesting story about that later, about the Duncan Keith trade. And this year they lost, and they got swept. They were second, and they had, I think, a 10-point, pretty massive lead over Winnipeg for second spot, and they just get absolutely blown out of the water in the first round. That is not what you expect. I mean, McDavid and Draisaitl can't carry you through the entire playoffs. That team is not physical. That team is not a playoff team. So I'm going to go overrated.
Yeah, and I really agree with that. They are overrated. Like it's a two-man team, and right now I have it. Yeah, 9-point difference between Edmonton and Winnipeg. So it's just that can't happen, except if you're Toronto, because you just aren't a good team. But now on to Vegas. Vegas, they've been in this spot since they've been in this spot before, tons of times. They got the final once against Washington. And I think if they don't make many moves this offseason, they're gonna stay that way. I think they could make the conference finals, and then they're gonna lose. They need to get over that slump, and they need their issue in the playoffs is their goal scoring. They don't have any goal scoring in the playoffs, and that's something you need. You need goal scoring. You're not going to go far. And it really concerns me because a lot of teams want Fleury, and I don't trust Leonard as a starter for them. Like, if Fleury's gone, then what is Leonard going to do? But I don't think he's capable of a starter. He's a good goalie, but I don't think he'll be that great. Like, he was good in the playoffs.
He was only good when he split with Fleury. So.
He was only good when he split with Fleury, so the fact that he may start is just going to... It's worrying. But on the other hand, your defense is. I really like that defense. Obviously, Trangelo, Martinez, Theodore, who had a great season this year. Shea Theodore, great season for Shea. Yeah, no. I'm actually gonna go underrated, and I know this may come as a shock, but I don't think anyone says, oh, they're gonna go to the Stanley Cup Finals this year because they're gonna have to meet Colorado, and Colorado's gonna do that. And then, no, like I'm gonna go on. Underrated. It's between fairly rated and underrated. It's really close, but I'm leaning towards underrated because I don't think anyone thinks they're a final team, and I think they could get that if they do one little move in the offseason. And yeah. So yeah, spoiler alert. Yeah, Eichel. If they get a guy like Eichel, they're in the finals. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, they're probably going to cup. Vegas. I know. They're a good team. I think their general manager set them up for the present, for now, and they have some future players in Cody Glass, and they have some younger guys. The only worrying thing about Vegas is I agree with you in the playoff spot that they can't get past conference finals the last few years, and they can't win the cup because they don't have the goal scoring. I'm also worried about Fleury or Leonard leaving. If Fleury leaves Leonard, I feel like they'd have to go get someone else to back him up because he would probably crumble under the pressure of being a starter goalie. In that saying, Montreal also has Jake Allen available in the expansion most likely. So it's pretty much either Jake Allen or Marc-Andre Fleury. If you're wanting to win now for Seattle, I'd take Fleury. If you're trying to go for the future and wait, I'd go Jake Allen. Anyways, off topic. I'm gonna go fairly rated because they've been good for a while, but like they're a good, solid, all-around team. They're a good regular season team. They actually dominate in the regular season. The playoffs, they make it. I think they lost in the first round once. Other than that, they made to the cup in the conference finals. They're a good playoff team. They're a big team, and they're just good. They're going to be good for a while, but I think their GM set them up at the draft to be that good because they traded some of their first-round picks, but now that's starting to kick in, and look how good they are. They made to the conference finals like 2 years in a row. Sure, they lost to Montreal, but Montreal just had a good run. I'm going to go fairly rated with Vegas. I think they could win the cup within a few years.
Yeah. The thing is with Vegas, if they're going to win a cup, I think it has to be within 2 to 3 years, or they're done.
Yeah, no, they need Mark Stone and Pacioretty all in their prime. Like, they need them to be as young as possible for the cup because they need those guys.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think in the first round, didn't they lose to like San Jose with that weird power play and hand pass?
Yeah, in Game 7.
Okay, next topic. Or do you have anything to say? Nothing to say about Vegas?
I got no sad.
Trade destinations. We're gonna start with the lesser name in Vladimir Tarasenko. So since I went first last time, you can take it.
All right.
So, you want to go first team or third?
Yeah, I'll go first. Vladimir Tarasenko. He's a goal scorer. He's a good sniper. He's been a great player for St. Louis for a while. He's a bit on the younger side. Actually, I don't know how old he is. If Aiden can look that up for me.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I'm pretty sure he's hit 30 goals before. He is just one of your classic snipers.
Yeah, no, he's 29.
So 29. He's on the good side of 30. He would be a good value. I think I'd give up a first round pick for him any day. He can be a top line guy depending on who he plays with. So if I were to say where he would go,
is this your number one?
Yeah, my destination number one. I'm gonna go Nashville. Surprisingly, I didn't think I would pick Nashville. I'm pretty sure they're going to go into a rebuild. They trade Arvidsson. They still have a decent team. Ryan Johansson, pretty sure he is a free agent. So they got Philip Forsberg. If they bring in Tarasenko, I think they should re-sign Johansson, try to go and sign people. Because if they get Tarasenko, I think they should make one last run before they go into a major rebuild. They also have like $22 million in space on like cap. They have $22 million to spend this free agency. I think they should trade for Tarasenko. That would be my first destination, would be Nashville.
Yeah, no, I think Nashville, they're gonna kind of have to go. They're gonna go down. They finished fourth this year, going to the playoffs. And if they get a guy like Tarasenko, maybe they can sneak into that fifth wild card spot this year. And Nashville is not my first destination. My first destination, actually, I have a feeling it's gonna be the New York Rangers, and I have a weird sense and feeling that he's gonna go to
That's
New
scary.
York. Obviously, New York has a bright future ahead of them. Obviously, Lafreniere, Kako, like Adam Fox, like Shesterkin, they have a great future ahead of them. And adding Tarasenko to that, obviously he's not the youngest, but I think this year they just missed out on the playoffs. I think without he could maybe Rangers could maybe make the playoffs, and with I think it's almost certified. So my number one team is going to be the New York Rangers.
That's interesting because my second spot
it's the New York Rangers.
Is the New York Rangers.
Yeah.
Because why not just give them the friggin' NHL? Why not just friggin' let them have Crosby? Let them have everybody now at this point. Frig, man. They're going to be... If they have Tarasenko, Panarin, Zibanejad, Lafreniere, Capo, Kako, I'm surprised they didn't make the playoffs last year. On paper, they look probably one of the best teams in the NHL. I just don't think they have that. They don't have that chemistry. That's probably why they don't really make the playoffs or do anything good in the playoffs. They also lost Henrik Lundqvist. They now have Shesterkin. They're going to be a good team. Tarasenko. I have Tarasenko. Could you imagine having Tarasenko and Panarin on the same line? That would be like, even on the same power play. Like, if they got Tarasenko, they'd be amazing. New York is my second destination.
Yeah, no, and I think New York have the cap. Like they do have the cap to do it. Like he's making $8 million, I believe, and they have the cap. New York. It's gonna be interesting to see what they give up for. What they give up for Tarasenko. My second team. I really think it's going to only be the New York Rangers, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to be anyone else. But if I had to go for a second, it's going to be the St. Louis Blues. I feel like, for me at least, if a guy's asking for a trade, unless he really, really hates the team, he despises the team, he hates it, hates everything, then yes, they wouldn't be in that top three. But I think for me, St. Louis still has to be in the top three because I don't think Tarasenko is that guy who's like, oh, I hate this team. I like, get me out of here, Garrett, like, or I'm gonna retire. Like, and I believe the issue why he wants to leave is because when he's been injured, and they didn't treat it properly. They didn't do whatever like he wanted for his shoulder. So apparently that's the reason why they didn't treat it right. But I think, I think my second team has to be St. Louis. They won the Stanley Cup recently with Tarasenko, so hopefully they can keep that up. But yeah, I'm gonna go St. Louis.
I agree with you. I don't have any more teams, but I totally agree that it's a very good possibility that he does stay in St. Louis because just because he requests a trade doesn't mean he's guaranteed to get traded. It's honestly up to the team. Yeah. In his value for St. Louis, I don't think they really want to trade him. I mean, as you said, they did just win a cup, so I think they're looking to get back. I don't think with going back to the normal divisions that they will get back to the Cup with how hard the NHL is right now. But yes, I agree with you.
So St. Louis is your third team?
It would be. I don't have any third team, but if I did, St. Louis would be my third team.
Okay. So I do have a third team. And
all right.
It's a team you've already said. It's the Nashville Predators. I mean, they said they want 2 top 6 forwards. They said that openly. Or not Nashville. LA wanted that, so they got rid of Victor Arvidsson. But I got mixed up. My bad. But to fill in for Arvidsson, I think Tarasenko could do that. I think he could fill in. Obviously, they do have cap, and they don't have a left winger, a first-line left winger because Arvidsson's gone, and I think Tarasenko could really fill that void, and they have the cap, so I think Nashville.
Yeah, Nashville. It would be an interesting spot if you did go to Nashville. They'd be an interesting team to watch. All right, moving on.
Yeah, sorry, I got mixed up with teams. My bad.
That's all right. Jack Eichel. I do have 3 teams for this. Jack Eichel. He is a superstar. He's a franchise player, and in this case, different from Tarasenko. Tarasenko just requested a trade. Jack Eichel literally wants out of Buffalo because of how they treat him. Like he wanted to get surgery on something, and they did not want him to do it because they want him to play. But you can't play through an injury through an entire season and still be productive. I think Jack Eichel would be an amazing player. He is amazing. He's already great. My first team, honestly, would have to be LA because LA did just acquired Victor Arvidsson. They have Byfield. They have Kopitar. If they ended up getting Jack Eichel, they'd be a front runners again. They'd be in the playoffs. They would probably make it to like the second or third round. They would be a forced. You wouldn't want to mess with that team. I'm not saying that. The cap, I don't know how much cap they have. It would not be. They would have to give up a lot to get Jack Eichel. Like they would have to give up probably 2 firsts and a couple prospects. Yeah, Jack Eichel. But if they did get Jack Eichel, they would be really good. They'd be one of the best teams. They'd probably be first in their division or second, depending on other teams. But they'd be unstoppable.
I'm just looking at LA's cap because, they have $14 million. So yeah.
Oh yeah, I think they'd probably have space. They just need to put out value to match Eichel, and that is a hard task.
Your number 1 team's LA? Well,
yeah.
My number 1 team, it's the LA Kings. I think he's gonna go to LA, and why I think he's gonna go to LA is because I've just seen so many rumors of that happening, and I think the thing that really frustrates me with LA, they had such a good team in the 2000s or 2010 early 2010s. They had a really good team, and
they did win. I'm pretty sure they won the cup.
They won it twice. I think they won it twice.
Yeah.
Oh, they won it twice. They beat the Rangers, one of them. And LA's going to be that team for me for Eichel, and I think he really fits it. Obviously, there's Turcotte, there's Byfield, there's all these young guys that are going to probably play. And, has to be my number 1 team, the LA Kings. Yeah.
Yeah, they got a pretty young team. If they ended up acquiring Jack Eichel, they'd have a really good future in Byfield, Eichel. They'd have a strong core down the center.
The thing
especially with Kopitar to lead them and help them develop. And
I think LA want that 2 top 6 forwards. They've said that openly. Not Nashville, LA. They already got one in Victor Arvidsson. Can that second one be Jack Eichel? And I think it can.
Yes, I do too. All right, next team. Surprisingly, I've seen a couple rumors about this team, and that is the Boston Bruins. If Boston ended up getting Jack Eichel would probably play second line under Bergeron, but they'd probably play around the same amount of time. They'd have probably, if they ended up getting Jack Eichel, they'd probably have the best center core down the middle in the NHL. In Bergeron, Eichel, Krejci, and I don't even know their fourth line to be.
Frederick, right?
Yeah, Frederick. And then they have Pasternak, Marchand with Bergeron on the first line, and Jack Eichel would still have, I think he would fit in Boston, and I think that's all Boston is missing is another top six goal scorer. In Jack Eichel, he's a franchise player. He will take over when Bergeron leaves. And if they end up getting Jack Eichel, they would probably go back to the Cup.
Yeah, but I think they have cap space too. They have the cap to do it, I believe.
Yes, because they have let go of some players.
I think they'd have to give up however many first, maybe two.
Do you know how much cap space they have?
If we go to cap space, I think it says $31 million.
Jeez. Yeah, they also do have to sign Tuukka Rask back to a contract because he's a free agent right now.
They may not even sign him though because they have Swayman and that other guy, something.
Yeah. I wonder. That'd be an interesting.
See, as a Habs fan, I hate to see Eichel.
Yes.
In that Bruins jersey.
Yes,
I'd hate to see Eichel in that Bruins jersey. For my second team, it's not the most popular team, but at the beginning it was like, oh, no one thought about this team, but recently they've been coming up, and that's the Minnesota Wild. They have cap. They have the cap to do it, and I think if Kaprizov signs, apparently they offered like an $8 million deal for however many years, and he didn't accept it because they think his agent thinks he deserves $10 million. So if Kaprizov's there, Eichel alongside Kaprizov, that's an amazing line. And they need centers like Joel Eriksson. He had a great season, but he's not going to cut it. And I think
he's a second line guy at most.
Yeah, and Eichel really fits that first line center, obviously, and I think it fills their center void that they need. And I think this team they're going to go back to playoffs. I think. So my number 2.
I wouldn't be mad if Eichel ended up going to Minnesota. Honestly, that would be a team that I wouldn't hate him going to. But that is not. I did not pick the Minnesota Wild for any of my teams. My third team. Now, I would honestly hate to see this because they'd probably be the most stacked team in the league. And again, I'm going to say the New York Rangers because they have the cap and they're looking to go back. The crazy thing is, if you added Jack Eichel onto that team, they'd have Lafreniere, Eichel, Zibanejad. I couldn't even begin to imagine how good that team would be under a good coach, under a good staff. Eichel, Panarin, Kakko, and then it's unimaginable if he ended up going to the New York Rangers. I would hate seeing that because then they would probably go back. They'd probably go to the playoffs. They'd probably make a huge run in the playoffs if they ended up getting Jack
Eichel. I know. For the Rangers, I think it'd be. Yeah, that'd be a scary team. Panarin, Zibanejad, obviously. If you say Eichel, that would be a very scary team.
Yeah, could you imagine Lafreniere kicking into his prime while Jack Eichel is playing in his prime?
But my third team, this is interesting, is the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Oh no!
I'm joking. I'm obviously joking. That was just a joke. that was a joke. That's probably my least team.
Literally smashed my laptop.
Yeah, no, I was joking. But the third team is the New York Rangers. New York Rangers. I already said Tarasenko could go here. I think 80% one of those guys are going. One of the guys.
I can see both of them, honestly. I can honestly see both of them going there.
Yeah, but they're going to have to give up a lot of firsts.
Oh, yeah, no kidding.
But I don't think there's a high possibility that they're both there. I think there's a good chance that one of them are there. The New York Rangers, that team would be scary with Eichel. Any thoughts?
Is that it?
It's a 3. You want to go to the next topic, or do you have anything else to say?
I don't have anything else to say. No.
Okay. Topic numero 3. The Duncan Keith trade. So, you want me to list the trade for everyone?
Yeah, you can list the trade.
Okay. So the Chicago Blackhawks trade none other than Duncan Keith, former 2-time Norris winner, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
and Tim Sunderland, this random guy, out of nowhere, for Caleb Jones of the Edmonton Oilers. He's not a prospect. He still plays. He's like a third.
Well, I mean, he's super young. He's a good player. He's a good young player.
Third line defenseman, and a third.
Honestly, I think Edmonton won that trade.
Are you crazy?
What do you mean?
You're crazy. No. Everyone watching this. Type in chat if you think this is crazy.
No, I'm kidding. Obviously, Kate, chill out.
Okay,
honestly, I think it tilted more in Chicago's favor for that trade. But
yeah, keep going.
Okay, third round pick. It's not. I think Duncan Keith. He's on the older side. He's a veteran. Bring him to Edmonton. That's gonna give them a bit more experience. Edmonton. So I have a story behind that. So actually, one of the reasons why Edmonton was so interested in Duncan Keith is they played Chicago about 2 years ago in the playoffs, or in the play-in round, actually.
Well, at this point, it's like Chicago. Yeah, at this point, it's like 11 months now.
Yeah, pretty much. And the Edmonton players said that Duncan Keith was a hard defenseman to play against. He's smart around the puck, and he's a solid overall defenseman. And pairing him up with like Darnell Nurse, I'd say they're gonna be another good regular season team. I do not think they'll make past the first round again, but bringing Duncan Keith, it helps the defensive side a little bit, especially in losing Tyson Barrie. But yeah, on the Chicago side, you're pretty much going into a rebuild by now. If they're really trying to go for one more run, which I don't think they are, they should trade like Patrick Kane or something, but I don't think UA will. Jonathan Toews coming back from injury next year. Bringing Caleb Jones, it's not that big of a deal right now. Maybe in a few years he might be good. Third round pick. It's honestly the third round pick is what got me. I think they should give him like fourth or fifth.
So
I think Chicago won the. I think the trade was in the middle, but I think it was leaning a tad bit over to Chicago.
So just a bit over for Chicago. So Chicago won it, but just by like a tad bit. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. I think you've lost your mind. You cannot tell me that Chicago won by a tad bit. No. Okay.
What do you mean?
So Duncan Keith, he's 37 years old, probably gonna play one more year. He's gonna have one more decent year, and then if he plays another year, he's gonna be terrible. Okay, you give up a guy like Caleb Jones, who's a young third pairing defenseman.
Duncan, it's not about the age of Duncan Keith, it's about the mentality. He's been playing in the friggin' NHL for a long time. That's
exactly. He's gonna retire soon.
Look at Edmonton. They're like one of the youngest teams in the NHL. They have a super young team. That's literally what they needed, was a veteran. That's why I think Chicago was asking, and that's why Chicago added also. Edmonton had to add Caleb Jones. I don't even think they needed to add Caleb Jones. Honestly, that would have made it a bit more fair. I think it should have just been Duncan Keith straight up for like a third or a fourth.
Caleb Jones is a young, promising defenseman. He's not going to be a superstar. He's not going to be obviously, but he's going to be that good second line, maybe even when he's older, that decent first line defenseman. Probably second though.
No, he'll be like he'll be a second or a third.
Not or a third.
It's most likely a second.
You've lost your mind. This is a terrible trade on Edmonton. You're going to get 1 year out of Duncan Keith, in my opinion. He's going to play one more season, then he's done. He's gonna retire.
I don't know. I think you got a solid. I think he'll play till he's 40. He will not be as good as, he will not be that good, but he will still. I think he'll play till he's about 40.
Oh my gosh, you actually lost your mind because Edmonton got fleeced here. Duncan, one more year of Duncan Keith, he's done, retiring, done. In my opinion. Then you give up Caleb Jones. That third round pick can be very good. It's not going to be very good, but we'll see. But a third round pick, that's not bad. Normally that could be a decent player in the NHL. I don't understand. Yeah, I'm thankfully you agree that Chicago won the trade. But you can't be telling me it was a tad bit. That's not how.
Look at Chicago now. Look at their defense. Who do they have? Face Kirby Doc. What is he? He's a pretty shitty defenseman, right?
No, he's not a defenseman.
No, he's not a defenseman. What am I thinking? I'm thinking of somebody else. But losing Duncan Keith, they just lost I'm pretty sure he played their top line, played one of some of their most minutes. Chicago is going to an entire rebuild. I think that's why they went for Caleb Jones and a pick. That's why I do think Chicago did win that trade by a slight bit because they're going to rebuild. That's what they need to do. They need to start shipping out players for picks. And I think they did that. And I think if you're Chicago and you're going to a total rebuild, I would have sent Duncan Keith over and I would have tried to receive a third and a fourth, or a third and a sixth or seventh or something like that instead of Caleb Jones. But in that they did get good value out of Caleb Jones. So
their best defenseman is either Adam Boqvist or Connor Murphy. That's their best defenseman. One of their best defensemen. It's not a tad bit. Chicago won this trade. It's one of the worst trades I've seen in a while. My take, at least. Actually not. No, there's been a worse trade I've seen, and that worst trade is that Hopkins trade, but that's football. So, next topic: Stanley Cup Finals.
Okay. Wait, is this me?
Yeah.
I'm first.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Stanley Cup. It is Montreal and Tampa. Me and Aiden here are both Montreal fans, and it was a heartbreaking loss in Game 5. People are saying that Tampa purposely lost the Game 4 because they wanted to bring it back for Game 5 in Tampa, and I honestly don't believe that. I don't know. Now they won. It's questionable. It's up in the air. I don't know. But one thing is that Andrei Vasilevsky is a cheating goalie. One, he was wearing too big of equipment, and he looked like a sumo wrestler when he was standing beside Carey Price. People are saying that it's because he was standing closer to the camera. I'm pretty sure you would see it wouldn't be that big of a difference because they were standing pretty much right beside each other. But I think the NHL is going to start investigating about like what equipment to use because he changed his equipment right before the playoffs, and you can tell like he looks a lot bigger and his equipment looks a lot bigger. Anyways, other than that, talking about Tampa next season, they're like $18 million over the cap. They're gonna have to lose a lot of players. So Vasilevsky's contract is kicking in. He's gonna be paid like 10 million or something like that, 9 point something. He's going to be a really high paid goalie. So they're going to need to lose a lot of players. And I think they're going to trade away Stamkos, and Yanni Gord will have to go. And I think they should also trade away Ryan McDonough. They're not going to be as good as they were. Like they've been the front runner. They've been projected to win the cup for like 2 years straight. They won the cup last year. Look at their team. Their team is honestly stacked, and they are not going to be like that. They're gonna slowly decrease. They're still going to make the playoffs. They're still going to be good. They won't be not as good. They will. I don't think they'll win the cup for like 5 years or so, because they're like if they lose Stamkos, sure they have Braden Point. They're probably going to lose Yanni Gord. They're going to lose a lot of players. They're not going to be as an exciting team to watch. They're not going to be super stacked. But yeah, I don't think they'll come back to the cup. I still think it's make the playoffs.
Yeah. So Vasilevsky's making $9.5 million till 2027-28 season, or after the year after that. The finals, as a Habs fan, it was tough to watch. But at the end of the day, I'm happy that they made it past the first round. That's really all I'm happy about. And the fact that they did the Stanley Cup run, I think it's good for Cole Caulfield. I think we really got to see what Cole Caulfield's going to do, and I'm excited for next year. Excited for next year to see what we get from Cole Caulfield. I think this is really good for Montreal at the finals for the young guys. But for Tampa, on the other hand, 2 cups in a row. For Maroon, it's 3. That Stanley Cup Finals. It was. I think Tampa were the better team. I think Montreal were better game 2 and game 4, but the rest was all Tampa. And there's nothing really else to say. I'm just frustrating.
Yep. Yeah.
You want me to do the next part?
I'll go over to Montreal, and then you can do Montreal.
Okay.
Montreal, they did lose in the cup. They made a heck of a run. They would have not made the playoffs without Jake Allen. They would not made it to the cup without Carey Price. I think they lean a bit too heavy on Price during the playoffs. I think that's ultimately why they lost the cup. They couldn't get out of their zone. Tampa was all over them, but Tampa was ultimately the better team. Montreal coming to next season, they just signed Ducharme for a 3-year contract, so he'll be their coach for a little while longer. Marc Bergevin probably still going to be the GM. Montreal, they have a promising future with Cole Caulfield, Suzuki, Kotkaniemi. Caulfield played amazing in the playoffs, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do next season and throughout his entire career. He's going to be a Hall of Fame player. I think he'll be one of the best players, one of the best snipers, like goal scorers in the NHL.
So.
It's exciting to know that he'll be on Montreal. And, Suzuki is going to be also a heck of a player. They're both going to cost a lot of money, though. I think Caulfield will probably be, by the end, by his biggest contract, he'd be like a $9.5 million player. Suzuki, probably around the $9 million range. It'll be like another Crosby, Draisaitl kind of thing. But they're gonna come back, and if they can make some off-season trades, off-season deals, they're gonna come back to the playoffs, and I think they'll win the cup in the next 3 years. They're gonna be a good team. The problem is they're going back to the Atlantic Division.
Yeah.
With Tampa, Florida, all the hard Boston, Toronto. It's scary to go know that they're going back into the Atlantic, and it's only the top 3 teams that make it. And Toronto, Boston, Florida, Tampa are probably going to make the playoffs.
There's also those 2 wildcard spots.
Yeah, there is, but they have to settle that out with the other division, and the other division in the it's been a while. Metropolitan or whatever. They have another 5 good teams. They're gonna be tough to get the wild cards from, but I think Montreal will ultimately make a wild card spot. I think they will make the playoffs again, and I think as long as they get into the playoffs, they can make another run eventually. Now that Price knows that, I think Price and Weber are hungry to go back to the Cup, and I think they will both win a Cup before they retire.
Man, I hope so. Yeah, no. I agree with you. Everything you said, I really agree. So last but not least, unfortunately, the career of Pekka Rinne is over. What a goalie!
Oh man, what a story it was, though.
What a goalie!
It's sad to see him retire, but I mean, I didn't really pay attention to Pekka Rinne, but every time I played him, I know he was a good hard goalie to play against. And I remember the Cup run that he made when he went to the Cup. He didn't ultimately lost to Pittsburgh, and then Pittsburgh is a tough team to beat, especially Crosby. And I think as soon as they lost in the Cup, I think he just went downhill from there. And I just think Saros was ready to take over, but bye-bye to Pekka Rinne. Wish you a good retirement.
Yeah. What a goalie. Yeah, no, that's really it. We should bring up
or how about wraps it up?
Pekka Rinne retiring. It's frustrating. Well, one thing I remember about him, he scored that empty net goal.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, recent. But anyway, that's gonna wrap it up for this live stream episode.
Hope you sticked around to the end. If you did actually stick around to the end, because I want to know. Comment down below. Comment hockey down below if you actually stay to the end.
Comment hockey. Subscribe if you're new. Like if you enjoyed it. But yeah, we'll be live streaming every Sunday at 7 p.m.
Every Wednesday at 4.
Every Wednesday at 4. Wednesdays will be hockey and Sundays will be football. Anyways, that's gonna wrap it up. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. We'll see you guys Sunday.
Have a good rest of your day, guys. See you later.